that game that you posted the other day.
Dude, I had so
repo
much fun with
game.
it.
Kate's playing it too.
Who?
Oh no,
So if
Noah,
you want, my
you should
sister.
get it,
I
man.
feel like Noah would like it, but Noah said he's not interested in it.
Oh
Trust. I'm sorry. There's just not like
no, that's cool, man. If you're not
any
interested in
game
something, then you're
interested.
not interested, and you're good.
Well, no, it's just not that. Like, nothing is interesting to me right now. Everything is just kind of like, meh.
That's why
Oh,
if
dude,
you
I went
force
through one of
yourself
those a
to
couple
do
months
some...
ago.
I've been going through that for like the past half year. If you force yourself to do shit, though, you'll still hate it.
Yeah,
but
Noah,
at least
spend
you're
the
forcing yourself to
$10
do
and
it.
play a game with us.
All right. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves because we haven't done that yet. And I like I said, other podcasts introduce themselves, so I guess we should. So hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lagging Behind podcast. We are your hosts. My name's Taylor.
My name's Noah.
My name is Jackson.
And we are the three stooges that are going to be entertaining you today. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and move on with whatever we want to talk about. And if you end up enjoying this video, please do like and subscribe. Look at our other contents. We got a lot of stuff planned. So yeah.
I want to
that
start
it?
off with a topic of spam calls.
Go ahead and say what you want to say about spam calls because I have some beef with spam calls right now too.
Aren't you considered a spam caller?
That's my beef.
That's my beef.
That's my beef.
So my thing is, I don't usually get spam calls. I don't know why, but I don't usually use my number to register for things, so I guess that's why. So I don't really receive a bunch of calls. The only time that I ever received spam calls was whenever I was looking for apartments down in Colorado or looking for houses to rent with a buddy of mine because I went through a realty company, which is why I know what you're doing, Taylor. but it wasn't that bad getting the calls, but it got like really repetitive even after I said, "Hey, I'm no longer looking to rent or like rent an apartment or rent a house." They would just still call me on and off, just be like, "Hey, are you still interested?" or "Hey, are you still looking?" Even though I told them to take me off the list.
All right, so my beef is the opposite end as the person who's making the calls. Lo and behold.
Boo.
Okay, so
Boo.
here's the thing. I'm not a spam caller. Well, okay. Technically, I guess
Mhm.
you could label me as a spam caller. I'm a real estate agent. That's how we make business, is by calling people who are looking for homes. That's how we get clients. That's how that works. So with my realty company, I'm not gonna say the name because like I'm trying not to mix work and YouTube. They don't care, but like, I'm trying to keep it separate. But anyways, besides the point, we run our own website. So when you are looking on our website, it's going to give you the option to sign up. And if you sign up for our website, it's basically like, hey, I'm looking for homes down here. I would love for you to help me out. That is like the whole reason you sign up on our website. And so anyways, if you sign up on our website, we have different shifts that my company personally runs where, someone's calling from like 8 to 11 and this person's calling from 11 to 2, and this person's doing from like 2 to 5, and then 5 to 8. We have 4 different shifts that people run. And with that, we call these people that sign up for a website one of you homes. Now, if you ignore us, the next person in the next shift's going to call you. And if you ignore that person, then the next person in the next shift's going to call you. We're not going to stop calling you until you pick up the phone and say, hey, leave me the hell alone. And, if you get aggravated that we're calling you and after you didn't pick up the first time, we also send a text the very first time after you ignore us for the phone. And it says, hey, are you still interested in this property? If you simply say, no, I'm not interested, then we will leave you the hell alone. Or at least my company will. Now, going back to how you were looking for and then this is advice for everyone, by the way, as someone who works on the back end of real estate agencies and knows how all this stuff works. Any website you're looking on, they're able to track your information. So whether you give it to them or not, they will still get your information and sell it. That's why the best form of not getting 5 billion people calling you is to stick to one single platform and monitor what information you give. And if it asks you for information, give it fake information. Apple ID makes plenty of fake stuff. You can, route the email to a pizza place. Don't put some random spam email in this old Betty that lives in her condo with a single cat and all of her family's dead at the age of 100. She doesn't want to get your spam calls because people do that shit all the time too, and it's very rude to that one person. But anyways, yeah, so that's how that happens. The minute your information, especially like these apartment searching websites, the minute you give them your information, they're going to sell it to like 50 different places. That's why if you're looking for like a home or a condo or townhome, you're trying to buy an actual property, instead of searching on every single website that's available, like realtor.org or whatever, com or Zillow or, Red House or whatever it's called. I don't even know all the websites. I don't use them. But like, that's your issue. That's why you guys are getting spam called out the ass. If you guys simply want to look peacefully, don't give them your information. And then if you want to look even more peacefully, that way they can't track your IP and then, get all your information that way, simply find an agent and just ask them to send you properties and help you out. At that point, you're claimed. No one else is going to harass. You might get another call or two, but if you say, hey, I already have an agent, they'll leave you alone because you already have an agent. And, it's illegal for us to tread on each other's territory. That's just how it works. So simply put, a lot of these spam calls can be eliminated by not giving your information and by staying in one site or using one person. Because your real estate agent is not going to sell your information. They want you as their client, so they're not going to do that. But these websites, like Zillow and stuff like that, they specifically get your information and, that's how other agents find you. A lot of these home searching websites, by the way, they actually sell your names, and I know because I have the availability to buy them. They sell your information to us as lead handoffs to see if we can use you as a client.
Damn.
So that they literally sell your information to us. That's why you get 50 billion calls. Now, if you're getting called from a real estate agent company, and this is like, honestly, this is like controversial. I don't want to tell people how to get out of it because I'm an agent. I don't want to lose clients this way. But the easiest way to have agents leave you alone, I already have an agent. Just say that. But the reason being is if you say, hey, I'm not interested, they take that as either A, you're off put by some random stranger calling you, B, you think we're a scammer or something like that, or, C, you want to look for yourself and, you don't want to mess around with anyone, and they think that they can change your mind, which most of the time we do have methods of changing your mind because it doesn't make sense if you're looking for a home or property to not use an agent to look for you because we have access to a million more things than what you do. We can get all the rental history. We can get all the housing history. We can get literally everything on it that you can't besides the basic information. So it really makes no sense to not use an agent. And it doesn't cost anything. You can ask agents to help you out and it doesn't cost you a single thing until you buy with them. But that's besides the point. Now, going to go view a property, you have to be under contract now, but it is what it is. That's just NAR guidelines. But anyways, yeah, so my issue is someone signed up on our website earlier today and I called them. I was like, hey. And she like mumbles to herself. She's like, I hate scammers. I was like, hi, yeah, I'm not a scammer because I'm not. And she's like, oh, so what are you? And I try to explain to her what I am and she's like, just hangs up on me, which is fine. I mean, that happens. People hang up on us all the time. But guess what, lady? Now you're going to start getting multiple calls. You could have just said, hey, I'm not interested. But since you didn't want to hear me out, you didn't want to hear what I had to say, now you're going to keep getting calls from us until you pick up the phone again and tell us you're not interested. And keep in mind, I did text her. She still didn't respond back to that. So she's going to keep getting calls. She could have eliminated getting any calls if she wasn't interested by just hearing me out for a second. But that's my beef. If you don't want to keep getting spam calls, say something.
I think people should use their squatters' rights instead of going through a realtor agent.
But luckily, they don't really have those where I live at, or at least that doesn't really happen where I live at. I've yet to run into that. But in some states, you can just really get away with just living rent-free in someone's abandoned home.
Yeah,
squatters.
Yeah, we have squatters' rights here. I fucking hate it. I'm sure the sheriff's department actually has a bunch of calls every now and then about people squatting places, and they're just like, that's a civil matter. We can't do anything.
That's literally one of the most infuriating things ever is squatter rights.
Tell you what,
So I just looked up South Carolina because me and Noah are in that South Carolina. I just looked up South Carolina squatter rights. So the squatter, what the heck? That's so. I mean, if you don't know someone's on your property at this point in time, then you deserve to lose your house. But in South Carolina, squatters have rights called adverse possession, and so basically it says the squatter can claim ownership of a property if they meet certain conditions. The conditions are very intense, and so I definitely think it's easy to avoid this, but the squatter must live on the property for 10 years without interruption. The squatter must occupy the property without the owner's permission. The squatter's possessions must be clear and obvious to others. And then the squatters must have a document that appears valid to claim ownership of the property. Now, how does that work?
How do you get what?
How is one of the things literally a crime? You must be on the property without the owner knowing. That's literally a crime.
Yeah, so I guess we do have those. I mean,
P&E.
I think that's valid though, the whole 10-year thing.
I mean,
you have to
if
be
you
at that
obvious
point.
you're living there
on someone's property, you deserve it, I guess.
Yeah, they don't deserve that property, whoever owns it originally.
I remember seeing a news story a while back on, this is triggers something in my mind. There was a news story I watched, and this was a couple years ago, but it was this guy, and he squatted in like $1 million neighborhood. Like there was like an abandoned, like really nice home, like this nice 2-story mansion, and he squatted in it for like 10 years, and he ended up getting the home for free because squatters' rights, wherever he was at, had the same guidelines. And then the neighbors were so mad
that was
because
down
it
in
brought
Texas, I
it
think. I
it
think I
brought
heard
down
about
the
that.
value of all of everyone else's homes because
Mhm.
it basically, I think it went through like a sell process because it went underneath his name and he got it for free. So it like it took everyone's like $1 million homes and brought them down by a good chunk. That's crazy though. How do you not show up to a property you own for 10 years?
Literally real life Robin Hood right there.
I mean, I guess when people die and then stuff gets transferred over, that could be one of the plausible reasons. Or if you just have more money than what you can bargain for. But yeah, 10 years of living. How does that work too? Like, how do you get electricity and stuff like that without the person that owns the home knowing?
You can get like utilities and stuff to your house. You can still pay for all that stuff for like,
That's crazy.
say, if I walked into my utility company and I'm like, hey, can I pay for yada yada blah blah blah? I give them an address. They'll be like, yeah, sure. Like they won't ask if I live there or anything. They're just like, yeah, you can pay for that.
They should really require like title work to be presented.
I guess they don't really care about it. They just want money. That's it.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it's just that's wild though. Dude, I feel like if I ever had a property and a squatter was just in there, I'd spaz the hell out. But you can't
I'd
even
probably have
spaz
a
out
murder
on
charge
them.
on my hand.
I wouldn't have a murder charge, but like, you can't legally, in the state of South Carolina, you can't legally, it says you can't legally evict your spouse. I'm not talking about a spouse, I'm talking about a squatter.
I'd sure as hell make their life hell though. I'm gonna be blasting
Oh
shit
my
as loud as
gosh, I would
can.
do everything. Well, don't get me wrong, I would start the legal process, but I'm gonna be a real menace. I'm gonna start changing locks. I'm gonna start breaking windows. Like,
There was
it's my
a
home. I'm gonna break all the damn windows.
I'm gonna
Get eaten up
start
by the flies
vacuuming
at night,
I'm gonna
bitch.
start vacuuming the house at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
there
like I'm
was
gonna.
this
Hearing music in my speaker
YouTuber
too.
streamer. There was a YouTuber or streamer who had this.
I do remember. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he would blare stuff and like start hitting her door
I
and
think it was like
start
Famous
like
Andy or something. I don't
banging
remember.
on the walls and everything. And she would call the cops on him, and they're just like, "There's nothing we can do. This is his house, but we can't kick you out because you have squatters' rights. So if you don't like it, you could leave." Like they didn't want her being there, but the police can't do anything. So they were just like, "You don't want it. You don't like it. Leave."
You know what's a shame? You can't
For
like
real.
just arson the house down.
Right.
It was Andy.
Like I would just be so spiteful. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you. If I can't have my house, you can't either. And just burn it
For
down.
real.
No, that would be way too far. Like I still want the house. Like I would literally be doing, dude, break the windows and just start filling the house with like used diapers or some shit. I don't know. Like
Oh,
I don't know where you would
God.
get enough used
Damn.
diapers, but like start monkey at a zooing it. You know, just throwing shit at them like through the window. I don't
What the
know. Is that illegal? Would that be assault? Just splatter it on
Yes.
their walls. I don't know. I would do some crazy shit. I would do some like unhinged shit. If the legal system wasn't helping me, I'd be doing some crazy stuff, dude. I'd be breaking up the windows and then like putting like beef jerky at the windowsills to attract animals. I don't know.
Oh my God.
As long as it's
my
not me
lord.
like deliberately hurting them, then it's fine, right? Like, so I can't
Sounds
throw
like you want
snakes
this
in their
to
house.
happen.
No, like I can't throw snakes in their
It's just
house,
not
but
about
like I can attract a snake to their house, right?
Waiting on the day. I'm just waiting on the day.
Waiting on it.
No, I'm like, listen, by the time I can even afford to buy a house in this economy, I'll probably be like 60. So like, I don't think I'm ever having the issue of having a squatter in my house because I don't think I'll ever have a house anytime soon. But
I'm
it
trying
is
to build my own house.
cheaper that way. But then you got to buy land.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but sometimes
True.
buying
My,
land
my
and then
boss
building a
built a
house is more
house.
expensive. It used to be cheaper to buy land and then build a house, but now it's honestly
The market is rising.
the market's so weird right now. You could buy like a home with land for cheaper than what you can buy just land for.
Just demolish the house.
Yeah, now, I mean, listen, if it wasn't for tons of investors down here, you'd see my house at the foreclosure sales all the time, but unfortunately, they only do those once or twice a year, and people will outbid the shit out of you for a property that's well not worth it. But anyways,
Here's the thing
yeah.
though, I don't understand that. How are banks just gonna keep on foreclosing houses that people can't afford? Like, how is that just gonna keep on going on and on? Like,
What do you mean?
eventually they're gonna eventually people are gonna riot. Eventually the banks are gonna go bankrupt because who's gonna buy the houses? Because they're just gonna be too expensive. Eventually.
Nope. Actually, I'm not sure what you think's going on with the fork. So basically, what happens is people like the banks. That's your mortgage lender right there. They're lending you a mortgage. You got to pay on it. If you don't pay them, the bank's not getting paid. So then the bank basically repossesses your house. It becomes a foreclosure. They say, hey, you need to shit or get off the pot. So they typically have like a median time of trying to sell it. for what it's worth. They're trying to sell it for more than what it's worth to try to make some kind of money back, but typically they don't. At that point, the bank will resell. Most of the time, the bank will resell the homes for what was left on the mortgage. So you do get these nice homes for a lot cheaper
Oh,
than what they would be full price because it's a
okay.
foreclosure. So typically, and there's literally, like, anyone listening, there's a lot of different ways foreclosures work, and I couldn't tell you all of them. Foreclosures are not my specialty, but some of them, a lot of the banks will just sell them at what was left on the mortgage. So you can get a $500,000 home for $100,000 if there was only $100,000 left on the mortgage. So it's actually a really
That's
great way to get a home.
crazy.
Now, a lot of people, they're spicy and they will sabotage the property before they leave because they're getting kicked out of it. So the bank can't get in there until those people are gone. So that's why when you look at foreclosures, it's just like an outside picture of the house or just like an aerial picture, is because they can't get in there to get pictures. You don't know what you're walking into. Like, the HVAC could be fucked up. The whole sewage system could be like ruined. Like, there could be a lot of stuff wrong with it, which might make it not worth what you think it is. Like, you could be walking in this house that looks immaculate on the outside, and the inside it looks like it was in a garbage heap for 10 years. You never know. And then, you never know what you're getting into. Now, some type of foreclosure, stuff like that, they'll auction it off for X amount of prices. I think a lot of time when you're going through the bank, at least, they're just going to sell what's left on the mortgage. Now, sometimes they'll do more. It really varies on what that person had going on, but that's kind of how the foreclosures work. So foreclosures aren't a bad thing. Now, the issue is $500,000 home that's being sold for $100,000. Investors are easily going to bid $300K on it because they know it's worth a lot more than $300K, but they know nobody wants to spend that much money. So most of the time, they'll overbid a lot. So the chances of a normal person winning, you got to go in there really prepared if it's a desirable property.
Learn
Why
something
not?
new every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Shows how much I knew about foreclosures.
there's a lot of foreclosures aren't a bad thing. They're really not. They're a bad thing for the people living in them, but this is terrible to say, but you agreed to make a payment at X dollars a month and you didn't pay it, and you have to not be paying it for a hot minute for them to start the process of evicting you. So it is your fault that you're getting evicted, quite frankly. Like, it's the sad truth of it. But a lot of people, they do try to do short sales and stuff like that when they're in the process of getting evicted and or foreclosed on, and so a good chunk of times they'll sell it for what the mortgage is or maybe a little bit over, but you still have the chance of getting it before the bank repossesses it. So there's a possibility. There's literally so many different ways foreclosures can work when it comes to like auctionings and what price is going to be sold for, et cetera. There's literally multiple different ways, and I think different states have different laws. So that's just from what I know. Now, I'm sure some people are listening to this and they want to combat me, and they will be like, you're wrong on this. Every state has a different law, and every single bank and mortgage lender and et cetera, loan company, whoever they go through, there's a lot of different processes on getting a new home and then selling a home that's being foreclosed on. So there's not one way. That's just, I think, the main way, or at least down here where I'm at. So it's not a bad thing. If you want a fixer-upper, it's a really good opportunity, as long as you don't get outbid by investors. So that's, if you're living in a rural area, chances are that you could probably go to the bid and, have a higher chance of winning it. You're not running into investors. But where I live, where me and Noah live, it's investor city. You're not getting a foreclosure for a really good price. So, like, you will still get it for a good price, but not anywhere what it would be without those investors.
That's why I want to live somewhere like in the middle of nowhere.
North
Yeah.
Dakota.
And I will
Say
say,
Montana.
yeah, you could do that too. Yeah. I will say, for anyone listening, if you are struggling on getting this is just real estate advice right here for everyone listening. Listen, I know the new build homes are built like shit. Everyone knows that. I'll be the first person to tell you they ain't built too well. But guess what? A lot of them are going to be 60, 70 grand underneath what the same home would be that was built 10 years ago, and it's new. Not only that, but a lot of these new build companies will not only offer you lower rates. I've seen some of them doing 3.99 interest rates on their home instead of the standard late 6, early 7s where it's at right now. Sometimes they'll do 4.99 interest rates, whatever. A lot of them have incentives where they will cover your closing costs and offer you lower interest rates, and on top of that, they will also be a lot lower price. So there is ways to get a home out. There's actually many different ways that can get you good deals. That's another reason to have a real estate agent, because you wouldn't know that information without me. So, like, there's a lot of different information that
Starts plugging in, just like, call me up.
Obviously, I'm only licensed in the state of South Carolina, so I can only help with South Carolina purchases. But it's always a referral agency. I can get you referrals shipped off to somewhere else, wherever you want to move, any state. I have access to all of them, so we can get you set up. But
Well, there you go. If you need to find a home in South Carolina, there you go.
Me being a real estate agent is completely separate from the podcast, though. It's very rare that I bring up my job. But while we're on the topic of foreclosures, I don't know how that happened. Figured I'd, share my little bit of knowledge that I can tell you. But, there's a lot. I'm telling you, if I could dive into a lot of the shady stuff with HOAs and stuff like that, like all these little nitpicky things, you'll be shocked. Especially with how it messes with your finances. But that's a whole different story for probably a day that will never come, because why do I want to talk about work on my podcast? So, like, who wants to do that?
Depends on interesting stories. You never know.
Oh, well, yeah. Speaking of interesting stories, Jackson, Jackson, I've told Noah a little glimpse of the story. And so I wanted to bring it up to YouTube because I wasn't going to talk about this today, but like, I'm so brain dead that I want to bring it up, if that makes sense.
All right. Hit me.
So for everyone listening, I like being single. It's not very hard for me to like go out and find people. Everyone's looking for someone. It's very easy to find people. I like being single. So therefore I don't hop on dating apps much. And then most of the time I lose interest very, very fast. So it never goes anywhere. Anyways, I hopped on a dating app the other week and I matched with this guy, and he was great. I liked everything about him. We had a lot of stuff in common. And then I went and I met him in person. And that's when things went downhill. And I wasn't going to say anything about this, but I wanted to bring this up because I figured you would get a kick out of it, Jackson, and Noah would just be like, what the hell? And I wanted to hear your takes. I wanted to hear your takes on this too, because I just never thought I would run into this situation. So I met him in person, and he got inside before me. I was there before him, but he didn't text me until he was inside. So I went and I walked inside, and immediately, right as I walked through the doors, the smell of body odor hit me, like armpits. Like, it was just so strong in the whole, like, lobby area of the place we met up. And I was like, oh my God, someone's not wearing deodorant. And the guy, and I'm not a very physical person, but the guy came up and hugged me. And that's when I knew. I was like, well, that's the guy. The guy I was going on my first date with wasn't wearing deodorant. And it was so repulsively bad. Don't get me wrong, he was so sweet. He had a lot of manners. He was great. He was a very, very nice guy. But holy crap, dude was not wearing deodorant. But I liked, and let me go ahead and tell you, immediately I probably would have just walked up and left if it wasn't for me liking literally everything else about him. So I still went through with a date with him, putting up with the smell. I was so embarrassed because I knew other people were smelling it. I was like, dude, I'm over here, like, we're stinking up the room. Like, it wasn't me, it was him, but like, I'm with him, so like, we're stinking up the room. So anyways, yeah, so I had to bear with that for a couple hours, and I was just like, you know what? And I'm just gonna use a fake job here that's similar to what his profession is. Let's just say he was a fitness trainer. So there's a lot of like physical labor involved with this job. So I was assuming, I was like, maybe he just couldn't shower beforehand. I don't know, but dude smelled ripe. Whatever. I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to say anything. I figured it was an accident. Like, sometimes you just forget deodorant. Now, on a first date, it's a little weird. Because typically, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm meeting someone for the first time, especially on like a date, I'm going to try to look decent for them.
Everything.
First impressions are everything. So, I didn't say anything. And, I had a great time otherwise. I had a great time. He was great. And so we went our separate ways, and then came the second date. And I was thinking, I was like, I really hope today isn't the same thing as last time. And I went and I met up with him. And we were playing, we went and did an outdoor activity. And he was wearing his hoodie most of the time. I didn't smell anything at all. He was wearing his hoodie. It was great. Everything was good. And then halfway through, he got a little hot and he took his hoodie off. The smell filled my nostrils again. And it became very rampant in the area surrounding him. So the little muffler that his hoodie had of quenching his armpit stench, it was gone. It was gone. And so I then sat there and I bared with it and we went and did the outside activity, and then we went and ate somewhere, and I put up with it throughout the whole time too. We had great conversations. I learned a lot more about it. I still liked everything about him, but the smell. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, which looking back on, like I said, you want to look great for your first date, for the first couple of dates, you want to make sure you're as presentable as you can be. That's just 101. His shirt, he was wearing a black t-shirt, and his shirt underneath his hoodie, and his shirt had stains on it. Like, there were stains on his clothes. Like, he was wearing dirty clothes, I guess. I don't know. There was stains on his clothes. Like, I don't know what it was, but, like, there were stains on his clothes. And so, at that point, I was like, all right. Like, personal hygiene's a big thing for me. Also, his breath smelled like alcohol both times, which
Oof.
also was a very big downside to me. And I'm not a big drinker. I drink maybe like 2 or 3 times a year at this point in my life. Like I barely drink, and if I drink it socially, which there's nothing wrong with people drinking. Like go for it. I don't care. Like shit, I'll join in here and there. But like I don't have fun when I'm drinking, so I don't do it. But like I don't care if you do. So anyways, I was very conflicted. I was like, I gotta bring this up, but I did not know how to bring it up because like, how do you tell a grown ass man like, hey, you smell bad? And like, because I was still interested in him. Like this is the first time in a long time I'd like actually been willing to put up with something like this, because immediately I would have been like, nah. But it was great. And so anyways, I didn't know how to go about asking him, like how to tell him. But like, I know if I smelled bad, I would want someone to tell me, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
please do tell me. Like, you guys are the same, right? Like,
Oh
Yeah.
no, I 100% agree.
yeah, like, and I'm sure it's really, really embarrassing when you go on a date with a girl and then you smell like ass, quite frankly. I'm sure that's really embarrassing. And so,
Do you think
like,
he's just like nose blind to himself?
I have no idea. So and you know, a lot of people across seas, like around the world, they do not wear deodorant. It's not a very common, like America is one of the few places where like deodorant's like a must, kind of. But like a lot of countries, like a good chunk of countries, they don't wear deodorant. I didn't want to like, I didn't know if it was like a culture thing or whatever was going on with them. So I didn't want to like, I had no idea how to bring this up. And so I actually asked around, and a lot of people just said, hey, you got to be honest. You got to let them know. You got to like straight up tell them like there's no sugarcoating this. And then one person said something to me that stood out, which made me start like getting disgusted. One person said, if he can't even wash his armpits, he cannot wash his ass well. And so like, nobody wants to be with a really dirty person that can't bathe themselves properly. Like, you're a grown-ass man. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, that stood out to me, and that got me thinking. I was like, do I really want to even attempt to go on a third date with this dude? Like, eh. But,
Well,
you know, I
that's
figured I
like
would say something because it could have been an accident both times, right? So,
I,
I
I'm
wouldn't know
kinda
about
on
the
the
second
fence with
time.
that, because I'll be honest, like I've had like super like depressive waves where I've gone like I think the most about 2 weeks without like a shower or whatever, and like that's just like lack of motivation and everything. But even whenever I was gonna go out and like do stuff with people, I at least like made sure that I smelt good to the point where nobody could tell that I was going through that, you know?
yeah. Well,
Like I think that even if you're going through something, or even if it's like right after work or something, like that's why I keep deodorant in my bag, or why I keep like cologne in my car. That way I could always smell at least pleasant to others.
yeah. And I mean, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And so I really didn't know how to go about it. But, you know, I figured I was like, I got to bring this up because like, I just don't
Did
want to
you?
go on a third. Well, yeah, that's where the story's going. So I finally I sent him this text. I was like, hey, like I'm really interested. Like I think we're great, but like I have to talk about this because like I need to get this off my chest. Like I just have to say something about it because it's bugging me, and I just can't seem to get past this right now. And I was like, listen, I'm not sure if you have a medical condition, or you know, if you were just like rushing to get here because of work both times, or you know, et cetera, but like, have you been wearing deodorant? It was basically what I said. I was like, have you been wearing deodorant? Like, you know, like what's going on? I was like, the first time I thought it was just an accident, and the second time, like, not only was your shirt stained up, but you also smelled very heavily of BO. Like it was just it was not a great smell. Like I do you have a medical condition? Is there like a reason? Like I just want to try to understand why you smell this way. Because like, you know, if it was a medical condition or something like that, I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt. I was still a bit turned off by the whole like, if he can't wash his armpits, he can't wash his ass kind of, you know, comment. I was already really
Mhm.
heavily having second guesses, but I wanted to see what it would say. And we were mid conversation over text. So like I knew he saw it right away. And then we went a whole day without responding back to me. And I was like, okay, well, guess he's ghosted me. Like this is cool. Like you know, maybe it was very rude. Maybe it was wrong to ask. Whatever. I didn't really care because like it's whatever. We've had 2 dates. I don't give a shit. Anyways, then after a whole day, he then responded back to me. He's like, yeah, that's my bad. Like I would still like to go out on a third date if you will. And I was like, sure. And so we planned it for today, actually. And that
Oh
was
no.
well, today's Friday. Today's Friday. Now it
Mhm.
just turned Friday an hour ago. So, but anyways, so we were supposed to meet up Friday, but like the conversation kind of died down after a few texts after that. And the last text I sent kind of left no room for there to be a response. Like he could or couldn't respond. Like if he wanted to break off the conversation, like he could. Which is weird because he sent me like a bunch of video texts. He was sending me Snapchat after that whole like armpit conversation. I figured we were good. Like everything was cool. And I still had doubts. I was still sitting here. I was like, listen, if the third day, if he smells like ass, I'm gone. I'm done. I'm not even humoring this anymore. But literally everything else, like we had so much in common that I was willing to put up with it. But anyways, he never responded to my last text. And I was like, all right, is he ghosting me? Is he ghosting me? I didn't really care, and I figured I was like, well, this is now or never. If he's gonna message me like, hey, is the date still on today? Then then I'd say something. But he never did. So I would assume that I will not ever be seeing that guy. I've made up my point now. I'm not interested in him anymore. I'm gonna remove him off my phone because like I'm just not interested. I've done my thinking now. I don't think I'm willing to put up with someone who, if you have that bad of hygiene on the first date or two, like I'm good. And it's like I said, if it was a medical condition, that would have been one thing. But the clothes being stained on the second date said everything I needed to know. I was humoring it. But anyways, so yeah, I never thought that experience would happen to me. But
Did all he say was just it was his bad? Like my
yeah,
bad. That was
he
it.
didn't really. Here, I'll tell you exactly what I said. Because he
He
didn't
said,
really.
yo, my fault. And then left.
He
Yo,
didn't
yeah, for
really
real.
like
Like
say much about it, and like I'm like
that's not just like something you just like. Listen, I've been using. Like you can't. I'm guessing he was around your age, correct?
yeah,
You can't be that far into life and not know what the a stick of deodorant is. I'm sorry. Like it just no.
yeah, and I
Like
figured he would
sure you
elaborate
could.
more on it.
Yeah, but like I know
I
you
would
said
like
like
to
you
most
felt like
humbly
you're maybe like you
apologize.
might be rude, like you felt like maybe he was rude or what have you. It's just like no, that's a grown ass man. You gotta know you smell like BO. There's just no way you're walking around and you're just like, yeah, I smell fine. I don't put on any deodorant or like spray any cologne or anything, but I smell good naturally. Like that's just
Yeah,
not how it works
and
as
like
being a man.
yeah,
You're
I
gonna
would like to
smell and
almost
stink.
humbly apologize for thine stench.
well, basically what I told you that I texted him was almost word from word, and then basically what I told you he texted me back was almost word from word. So word from word, he was basically like, I'm not, because I apologized multiple times in that text. I was like, I'm so sorry, like I just didn't know how to bring this up, like like I'm sorry, like we have medical, like I really don't want to be rude. I just like I have to bring this up because I told him multiple times. I was like, hi. And here's the thing. After the second date, because there was a week in between both of these dates, after the first date, I kept dropping hints. I was like, what are your pet peeves? What are your stuff like this? And I was letting him know, I was like, yeah, I'm a very clean person. I wash my clothes regularly. Like, I take a shower every day, like this and this and this. And he's like, oh, I do too. Well, clearly you don't, dude. Like, clearly you don't. But
Yeah.
he kept saying, I do too. He kept priding himself. He was a clean guy. He kept priding himself on that. So, I figured that was a very roundabout way of letting him know. It was a very indirect way of like saying like, hey, I'm a very clean person, hoping that he would, pick up what I'm throwing down, but he didn't.
Right.
Obviously come the second date.
Knowing
But
what you're stepping in.
yeah, so basically, yeah, literally word from word what we responded with was like, I'm not offended, like honestly, my fault. And then he said I would still let you go on a third date. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like he didn't acknowledge it besides just saying my apology. Like he didn't
He also
he didn't
didn't
say
say that
if
he's
there
gonna
was a
fix it.
well, he didn't.
Right, exactly.
He didn't like say anything. Well, okay, hold on. What did I say after that? No, he didn't. He proceeded not to mention it ever again in the rest of our conversation. So, I
I think at
figured.
that point I'd just be like, yo, my bad, like I'm just going through something. I'll fix that.
Just
I
leaving it
will
at
be
my
better on
bad
our
is
third date.
crazy.
Well,
But
like
saying
my
my bad and then
mindset
not even
went.
saying that you're gonna fix it is crazy.
Okay, but my mindset was like he's probably incredibly embarrassed right now. Like he probably like feels bad. Like I didn't want to mess with his self-esteem. He probably like felt really embarrassed. I know I would be embarrassed as hell. I would be so embarrassed if I smelled like that on like my first and not first but second date as well. Like the dude was stinking up the room. I know people around us smelled it. I was so embarrassed. But like yeah, I was thinking he was really embarrassed, and that's just why he didn't say much on it. And he didn't elaborate anymore, which is fine. I figured he just got the hint, like wear deodorant. Like everyone's trained from a young kid to wear deodorant, or at least here. Like I said, I don't know if it was like a culture thing, but if it was, I felt like he would have said something, and he didn't. So I think it was just him being a dirty man, which is what it is. Like there's a lot of grown ass men and women who are very unhygienic, and it do be like that. But it do be like that for y'all, at least. It's not like that for me. I wipe my ass and I wash my ass and I brush my teeth, and I do all that jazz. But anyways, yeah, so he hasn't responded back to me. So it is what it is. I don't really care. I'm not, like I said, I much prefer being single. It's a lot less money. I don't have to give someone my time. Like it's great. It's great not having to
Probably
deal with
doing
anyone.
in his room. He's like, women, gosh.
Well, like I said,
kidding,
and
I'm
like
just
if he was
kidding.
offended, he could have said something. He could have said, he didn't respond back with anything besides my apologies. Like if he had a medical
You're a fucking bitch.
condition, say something. If it was like a culture thing, say something. Like I don't like all he said was my apologies. So I figured like it just summed up to him not washing his ass properly and then walking out without deodorant. And like I said, you want to try to make your best impression on the first couple of dates, especially. And the second date, his shirt was stained up. The first date and the second date, his breath smelled like alcohol. And so I probably wouldn't have hung around, even if he said, yeah, that's my bad. I'll take care of my hygiene from now. I probably wouldn't have hung around for much longer anyways, because like your impression has already been made on me. And I
Fool me once.
but
shame on me.
shame
Fool me
on you.
twice. Shame on you.
Yeah, basically. And so, so like I guess I scared him away. He ghosted me. Thank God, because like I was ready to send a text like, hey, I'm not interested anymore. If he did text me back, but now he just ghosted
like,
me.
Stinky bitch.
But like that could have been completely repairable if he would have like given me some kind of context. Or at least it would have been a temporary repair. I feel like if you're a dirty guy, and even if you like prep yourself up for the first couple of dates, eventually it's gonna come through that you don't wash your ass very well. So like it probably wouldn't have lasted very long anyways. But yeah, I figured I told that story because I thought Jackson would think it's funny to a degree. But like, and then I feel like both of you guys would have said something about like the hygiene stuff, because you guys are guys. So like, I've never been around girls that smell like pits, unless they're half of the time that I have been around girls that smell like pits. They've been from other countries and they don't wear deodorant from where they're at. So like it was a common thing.
Since I work in a jail, I have to smell everything practically, and definitely doesn't smell good.
But
actually, the chicks smell worse than dudes. I'll be honest. An unwashed chick smells worse than an unwashed dude.
Oh yeah, you gotta listen. Ass stench and armpit stench is one thing, but vagina stench. Them ladies, like them girls be smelling fishy as fuck.
Yeah, that's like that is.
I've never. I think I've said this on the podcast already, but I've never been so dirty that I've smelled like fish. I would assume most of them that do smell like fish, they have a medical condition going on. But like, if you smell like fish and you don't have a medical condition, you are dirty. Like
Facts.
that, you need some soap. Bad.
Let's stop being stinky in 2025.
Yeah, man, it's 2025, man. It's so they got fucking wipes you can wipe yourself down with down there. Come on.
We had COVID. We had the COVID era where everybody was scared of germs. We thought we would have learned by then about keeping shit clean.
I'm telling you, I like. COVID didn't. I was not one of those people where I was like, oh my god, you're not wearing a mask. I'm gonna spaz the fuck out. But like.
Either.
I'm an autoimmune person, so like, if you're sick, I would prefer you to stay away from me. But I was also working in the restaurants at the point in time that COVID was happening, so like I was exposed to people. And let me go ahead and tell you, people will come in and be like, I got COVID. Like people are fucking wild. But anyways, like it is what it is. But like, I'm not gonna have you standing right up on my ass. And you know how they had at the grocery stores, they had like little step stones to stand on. They're like, stand here.
Yeah,
like,
that are like 6 feet apart.
Yeah, the little stickers. And honestly, I didn't hate it. People did listen to it where I was at, minus a few people, but I didn't hate it because like, listen, whether there's a pandemic or not, I don't want you 2 inches away from my purse, from me, from whatever, dude. I can feel you breathing in my damn neck. And now that all that's gone, sometimes I'll be in the grocery stores and I'll have people like literally, like if I were to turn, my hair would slap them in the face. Like they're that close. If I turn my head, I will bump into you. And like, oh
just
my
trying to make sure you smell good.
It drives me insane. Like when people are like standing that fucking close to me. It's literally like you're closer than what if I had like a child or something. You're standing closer to me. What I would keep that child to me. That's how close some of these people have been standing next to me in line. Like, you guys are ridiculous. Like, you do not need to be right on my ass. I don't care if you're like a foot away or more, but like when you're in my bubble and you're so close to my bubble that like my phone was further away from my body than what this lady was. I'm telling you, it's stupid. I hate that. It drives me. I get so unbelievably aggravated when people are standing right on my dick. And then what I'll do is I'll make it a point to like stand far away from the person in front of me. That way they'll get the hint like, oh, I don't need to be right on this person's dick. But it doesn't work half the time. And so then I'll put my buggy in between us. And so I feel like that makes a point. But when I don't have a buggy.
A buggy.
A shopping cart.
Thank you, Noah.
A buggy?
Buggy's crazy.
What do you mean a buggy's crazy? Okay, hold on.
Where's buggy?
See, you guys are from. You guys. It is a shopping cart, but a buggy's another term for it.
No, it is not. That's like people call it a trolley. I've heard people call it a trolley before, and almost slapped him in the face.
Okay,
the only buggy I know of is a car, and it's called a punch buggy.
Hold on, I'm looking this up.
Oh, shopping cart.
Listen, Grandma. This isn't the 1600s.
Fetch me the buggy.
Okay, listen. A shopping cart could also be called a buggy, especially in the South. Listen, you guys aren't from the South. I'm from the South, where they say water down here instead of water.
When I was 7.
Okay, that don't mean anything. It's a fucking buggy. That's what it's called down here.
Alright.
But yes, it's a shopping cart. But we call it buggies. It's slang. Now, if either of you guys say pop, you call soda pop, I hate you.
No, I've always called soda.
Jackson?
I say
Really?
y'all.
Okay. All right. I
Hmm?
got some beef with the word y'all.
What's happened to
Why?
y'all?
I got
What the
beef with
fuck?
y'all. Listen,
Sean, I got
y'all.
beef with you.
Whoa,
You
wait,
know,
hold on, let's clarify real quick.
no,
Word or
let's-
us?
Huh?
I got you said you got beef with y'all. You mean us or the word? I know you mean the word, just need to clarify.
No, it's the word. It's the word. Okay, so here's the thing.
Just wanted to
Just
make sure.
because Paula Deen said y'all all the time does not mean that was like a super southern thing. But I think a lot of people, especially like everyone else that's not from the South, they come down here and they're like, ha ha ha, y'all. Like they think it's like when you have the secret code and it's like, listen, nobody gives a flying shit about the word y'all. But like everyone, when they think of like southern slang, they're like y'all. And like, it's just Paula Deen bullshit. And as someone who's worked for Paula Deen before, she's not the best person to work for. She
What
is
the fuck?
very...
You've worked for Paula Deen?
I've worked for Paula Deen, and guess what? If you engaged in a conversation with her out the blue, it's an instant fire on the dot. She wouldn't even acknowledge
Really?
us. Yeah, I used to work at Paula Deen's Family Kitchen down on Broadway. And she would come in there every couple like 6 months or something like that. She would come in there. I worked there for about 2 or 3 years back when I would think I was like 17 to, let's see, I would think I worked there from the time I was like 17 and 19 or 17 to like right after COVID restrictions got lifted. I was there. So actually, I think I worked there from like 18 to 20. And then once I graduated college, I left. But anyways, that was besides the point.
You went to
yeah.
college?
Yes. Believe it or not, I went to college and I don't use the degree, but I went to college for...
The more you know about someone, huh?
I went to a private
crazy.
cosmetology school, and you know what's crazy is a lot of people when you hear... Okay, Jackson, when you hear the term esthetician, you're thinking that's like a high-ranking degree, right? Like it sounds fancy.
Esthetician?
Yeah, an esthetician. What's an
It
esthetician?
sounds-
Without looking up,
it-
like it sounds fancy,
With
right?
that, okay, esthetician. It sounds like a illness.
Okay. Well, okay, if you had to... Okay, esthetician, you know what a cosmetologist is?
Uh-huh.
Okay, an esthetician. People hear the word esthetician, they think this is like this big medical field. Like a lot of... You can find some estheticians
Aesthetic.
in like dermatologists. Yeah, you can find them in dermatologist offices. But guess what? A cosmetology degree is actually a higher degree. It's actually a degree that covers hair, skin, and nails, whereas esthetician is just simply the study of skin. So ironically enough, a cosmetology degree is actually ranked above that. But anyways, yeah, I went to this private school. It was a Redken school, a private college that was triple what it would have been to go to the community college for cosmetology. And I passed with flying colors, and I've never used that degree in my life. But yeah, I did use that. I'm drowning in student debt from it because I went to a very expensive private Redken school. And
The next time I'm there, you're gonna give me a haircut, right?
I can.
That's what's up.
I don't know why you would want one from a rusty, washed out cosmetologist, but sure.
Buzz cut.
No, it's not gonna be a buzz cut.
You're getting like a lot off the top. What you want?
No,
yeah, I mean, there's no way you could mess that up, right? Just.
I mean, it's okay. So I actually, when I was in the school and stuff like that, because eventually we had a salon that we would
The
move up
9-part
to.
section.
Imagine, but I actually specialized. I got a lot of them in. I was really, really good at doing men's cuts and like doing fades and doing all that stuff and shaping up your neckline and doing your eyebrows and trimming down your beards. I was really good at that shit. But anyways, yeah, I never did it. Unfortunately, I ended up getting nerve damage in my back not too long after I graduated, which was the main reason that killed all of that. But anyways,
Sick and tired of carrying the haircutting world on your back.
I'm so tired of carrying all this cosmetology
such
pressure
a
on one little
burden.
back, man. Yeah, the word y'all. Ugh.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were
say
talking
it.
about that.
I forgot we were talking about too. It took me a second to remember. Like, I'll say it, but like, it's not like... I hate that that's like one of the few words that's like connected with being Southern, y'all. I hate the word because I'm not a big fan of Paula Deen. I didn't used to mind the word, but like, and then I didn't like the word after Paula Deen.
I think that's cool that you knew Paula Deen.
Yeah, she's really short, and she's actually very skinny and baggy now. It doesn't mean anything though. Like I said,
The fact that she's a piece of shit is pretty funny though.
I'm not gonna publicly say she's a piece of shit because I feel like that's a lawsuit that could possibly happen. But I will say the rule was when she came in, we were not allowed to speak to her. If we actively engaged with her, it's an instant fire on the dot. Now,
Who walks up
if
to her?
she-
Fuck you, bitch.
if she happens to walk
Never
past
meet your
you and
heroes.
speaks to well, yeah, but and the rule was if she happens to walk past you and she acknowledges you and she speaks to you, then you can speak to her. But it was like
up.
she didn't want anything to do with any of the workers. She did not want to have anything to do with any of the damn workers in there. Like, she wouldn't even
That's
come
not
in and
right,
say
man.
thank
Show.
you or like, hey, thanks for working at my restaurant. Thanks for doing this or that. She would not give us 2 looks. So, I mean, that sets a precedent you won't forget. And unfortunately, I don't have a very good viewpoint of her because, like, how do you treat your employees like that? And, like, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, I've met Paula Deen, big whoop. It's not someone I actively like to let people know. I met the racist Southern lady. Because didn't she get, like, cancel cultured for being racist? What did she say? What did she do?
I have no
I don't even
idea.
know that. Let me go ahead and tell you. You know what's crazy?
Hmm.
I know she was racist towards the black community. I don't know what she did. I think I remember. I think she said like the hard R or something. I have no idea. But the amount of they still would come in and like eat there. We got tons and tons of black people, and they would like come in and like sit there and like talk shit about her while eating her food. I'm like, bro, what the hell? But yeah,
It's
that
like
was an eventful time
It's
in
like
my
a
life.
Family Guy episode. They walked up to, or whenever he was like, it's like the time that I walked into a black neighborhood and said the N word. He comes back with a crown and a staff. He goes, they respected me.
I'm almost positive she said, hold on, what?
In 2013, yeah,
It stays.
it does stay.
Yeah, so saying that she got cancel cultured for being racist is very accurate. So that's also another as long as it's
Oh
accurate.
my
It can't be wrong.
god.
What? What did
happened?
she do?
What happened?
Oh my god.
What'd she say?
Did you look? Did you like? Wait! What? No, I see.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah.
What is it?
I'll share my screen. I'll share my screen.
Paula Deen uses the N word and wanted slaves to serve at wedding dinner.
Said that in a
Got her
deposition?
canceled.
That's
Holy
crazy.
shit! She
What
was,
the
I thought she just said the N
In
word.
a deposition?
Holy crap, dude. That's insane.
Her brother Earl Bubba for sexual and racial workplace discrimination in a $1.2 million lawsuit. I wonder what the result of that was.
That's
During the
That's
3-hour-long
insane.
questioning,
I was sitting here, I was like, what
Jackson's
did Noah
lawyer
find?
asked if Dean if she had ever used the N-word. Dean responded, yes, of course, and detailed the instances in which she had used the racial slur. Below are Dean's responses as recorded in the deposition.
She had a lot of balls. It must have been for all the butter she
My
consumed.
God!
Wait, hold on,
Holy
what is it?
shit!
Oh my god, that's what she's. Dude, I can't. We're learning so much about Paula Deen that even I didn't know. She said, quote unquote,
She's
well,
a racist.
what I would really like is a bunch of little N-words to wear long sleeve white shirts, black shorts, and black bow ties. You know, in Shirley Temple days, they used to tap dance around. Paula Deen laughed and said, now that would be that would be a true Southern wedding, wouldn't it? But we can't do that because the media would be on me about that. Wait, hold on, where are you highlighting that? What is it? Wait, hold on. I remember telling them about a restaurant that my husband and I had recently visited, and I'm wanting to think it was in Tennessee or North Carolina or somewhere, and it was impressive. The whole entire wait staff was middle-aged black men, and they had on beautiful white jackets with black bow ties. I mean, it was really impressive, and I remember saying I would love to have servers. Okay, jeez. Well,
What the fuck?
that's wild. I thought she just said the N-word one day, and that was that. I didn't realize she went into all that bullshit. Holy
Oh, what's
crap.
going on with Diddy? Wait, go up. What's going on with Diddy up there?
Sean Diddy Combs
he's
accused
still in
of forced
jail.
labor and... Yeah, but is it really surprising to see any new charges that popped up for him?
Nope.
No,
Dude's
I
basically
mean,
Epstein.
shit. The lawyer that he had representing him quit his case because he said it was too much.
Yeah, wasn't it Epstein's lawyer too?
I can't speak on
I'm
that.
almost
no,
positive it was Epstein's lawyer, and he was so bad that
Wait,
even
when was
Epstein's
this?
lawyer.
That's back
Diddy
in
stuff?
2013. Holy shit.
Yeah, going back to Paula Deen things. Yeah, I think you know, my personal work experience combined with her
That's a hell of a title.
the very public statements. Wait, hold on, what's the title say?
Paula Deen's recipe for Southern fried racism.
That's great.
Jesus.
Oh, that's a great name. No, that's
hilarious.
Yeah, so that's my experience working with Paula Deen, and then you know what's crazy is she still has
She sounds like a lovely
lot
woman.
of supporters that are
Paula Deen on racism
African-
scandal. I learned that words are powerful. What?
Yeah, you
When I
fucking
thought you
think.
can't use that word.
Even back
Oh
in
my
2013, that is terrible. Holy crap.
My lady.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
That's like, there's one thing to
Jesus.
say certain things, but holy shit. She should have just said one sentence if you're gonna like make a public ass of yourself, but she like kept digging her hole deeper and deeper. So yeah, my statement still stands. That was the work experience. That was all
ridiculous.
true. That was all true. So it's not like it's anything I could be legally held accountable for giving
I'll
false
say it myself.
info.
Yeah,
Like,
she's a piece of shit.
yeah, I mean,
I have a
I'll
feeling
say it.
she's a little racist.
I
Just a
mean,
feeling.
it was proven. It's in a deposition.
She quote
She
It's in
can't
unquote.
a
lie.
deposition, like, you can't lie.
Holy
Like
shit, dude. I think honestly, you know what it was? She probably said that first sentence with the hard R in it, and she's like, all right, well, I either can immediately apologize or try to
I
worm my
didn't know
way
what
out of
kind of
this by
response I was
talking
gonna get,
more.
guys.
So she started digging her hole deeper and deeper and deeper, thinking it would explain it a bit better, but it only made it sound worse.
Like, you make food, just stick to that. Oh
I
my
hate to say it,
goodness.
but the food was fire.
If I've only ever been to Paula Deen's once, and it was a very good experience.
So
Very good
I don't
experience.
I can't speak to. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna drop the beans on this too. Why not? So when I first started working there, they were using her recipes, and they were making everything fresh using her recipes. It tasted great. Like the food was fire. And then after COVID, they started getting cheap as stuff. They started switching to pre-made foods. So the mac and
Throwing it in the
cheese,
microwave
because
and
I
tossing it
remember
out.
basically, I remember the mac and cheese used to be phenomenal. It was fire. It was so good
My favorite was the
because it
chicken
was
and
Paula.
dumplings.
Oh, dude, that stuff was great. It was homemade with her recipes, and then they swapped over to pre-made mac and cheese from. It was like the same mac and cheese that like KFC or something was getting. So like as I was leaving, they started switching over quite a few things to pre-made stuff that wasn't even her recipes anymore. I don't know if it's still that way, but that's how it was when I was leaving. So like you were getting charged a hefty price for some of the recipes aren't even her recipes. They're pre-made
Oh, I'm glad I
garbage.
only went once, and it was when it was good because it was like a couple weeks after they opened.
Yeah, I mean maybe they went back to original recipes. I can tell you, it's been years.
Hey, I'm
It's
good.
been
I'm not
five
trying to pay
years.
those prices.
Yeah, I mean it's been 5 years, and like I wouldn't mind paying that price for homemade, recipe food. But if I'm getting the same mac and cheese as KFC, I'll just go to KFC and get it through the drive-through window. Like it doesn't make it worth the price you're charging if you're not using like authentic homemade recipes and you're just buying cheap stuff. And that's what's crazy. The prices go up, but the quality of the food got cheaper and worse. Like, how does that work? So stupid.
Mhm.
Hold on, I'm looking up Sean Diddy's lawyer because I'm almost positive the lawyer was Epstein's lawyer. Oh yeah, okay. Sean Diddy's lawyer quits.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Let's
Anthony
do it,
Rico.
man.
Who has he represented?
Yeah, when he quit, he
Uh,
said, "Under no circumstances can I continue."
I got shit. I'll be right back.
okay.
Don't take too long, I guess.
I'm not gonna take long. I'm not gonna take long.
Kind of on the latter end of this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like skim reading through this because like the Google search I popped up doesn't really say much besides it said I looked up who is he represented and it says more infamously Mr. Rico has represented well-known terrorists in his role. He served as a counsel on the World Trade Center bombing conspiracy cases regarding Omar Abdel Rahman and Osama bin Laden.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, so it wasn't Epstein's lawyer. It was Osama bin Laden's whatever his name is. I don't really care to know
Osama bin
how to.
Laden.
Yeah, I don't really care to pronounce his name correctly because he's a
Ladies and
piece of
gentlemen,
shit.
we got him.
But anyways, you're bad. Worldwide terrorist lawyer dropped you as a client.
There's no way he's getting out of it. There's just like I wouldn't want to represent him either.
Isn't he walking around freely right now?
No, I think he's incarcerated. I'm pretty sure he's in
I
jail.
thought they let him go. Oh yeah. No, never mind. He's in a detention center in Brooklyn.
He was
Since
denied bail 3 times by 3 different judges.
the amount of evidence that's coming out now is insane. But like, there's video evidence, video evidence and calls that have been recorded through multiple years where police have been called on him, where he was actively beating people. Like, there's tons of stuff, and no action's been taken until there's just a massive, massive pile of victims now. So like, screw that guy.
That's so
And screw the
crazy. Yeah.
justice system for failing all of those victims, by the way. I love our firefighters, our policemen. I'm a very big supporter of, anyone who puts their life on the line for other people. So, I'm always going to support the military, the firemen, the police officers, but they are, a lot of them, there's a good chunk of them that are corrupt as hell.
Oh yeah. I haven't had any bad experiences with anything.
Thankfully,
Of the
I
sort.
haven't either. I haven't had any bad experiences. I come from a military family, so like, I haven't had any bad experiences, but like, there are definitely a lot of police officers who don't do good things. I mean, that whole what was her name? Gabby Petito, was that her name?
Oh yeah, the lady. I remember that whole thing where like the guy him and her disappeared and they were gone and people were looking for them and like were found in some sort of national forest.
Yeah.
or something along those lines, and they found her. I don't remember. I remember the dude's name was like
Is
his like last name was
Brian
like
Laundry or
Laundry.
something? Yeah, it was Brian Laundry, and then his parents covered for that's a little shit show. But
Yeah.
a few days before, I think it was like a few days, or maybe it was like a week before she had gotten murdered, someone had called the police on them because they, if I remember correctly, they said that the woman slapped the man in the face. Gabby had slapped Brian, and I forgot what the whole thing was, but like there was a lot of evidence in what the cops like were having like when the cops were having the conversation with both of them, there was a lot of evidence proving that she was not in a safe situation. And Brian was like making jokes with the police officers and all this stuff, like kissing their ass. And Brian got like a nice hotel night stay because the police officers were like, you guys need to separate. And so like they took Brian and put him in like this really nice hotel and stuff like that. And Gabby was just like handed like $5 and told to like go fuck off for the night. Like the justice system failed her horribly. Even like I think honestly her death would have been prevented had the police officers actually taken a lot more initiative with that whole call that happened. But yeah, I know there's stuff that prevents them from taking some kind of initiative, but they could have definitely done more than what they did. I think she would still be alive if they were able to actually do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, I know they came out with like a whole Netflix documentary about it recently.
Yeah, and I haven't watched it. I just know the story is resurfacing, and so that's I'm just remembering bits and pieces because I remember when I'm sure everyone here remembers it. And Jackson's in the bathroom, but like when she went missing, that was all anyone and everyone could talk about. Like literally every form of social media platform was filled to the brim with, tracking her traces. Yeah, no, the justice system failed Gabby horribly. And, there's a
Failed
lot of
who?
instances like that. Gabby Petito?
Who the fuck is Gabby Petito?
Of course you wouldn't know. Jackson, where have you been? Have you
What?
been underneath a rock for the past 10 years?
I've been
Stop.
at work and school, man. That's what I've been doing for the last week and a half.
Okay, well, this is like all the way back from 2021. So you don't remember when that girl, the vlogger girl, was traveling in a van with her boyfriend, and she went missing for days, and people were like all of America was like searching for her. Like people were like making like
Yeah, and then they
conspiracy
found out
theories.
like the boyfriend did it or something.
Yeah, and a few days before she had disappeared, the police actually came and talked to them, and the police like acted like Gabby was crazy and all this bullshit, and let her continue on her way with Brian. Like they didn't take any initiative, and they failed her. And so I was basically the whole root of the conversation was while you were gone was I was saying that I love our first responders and anyone who's going to put their life on the lines, but there's a lot of corrupt police as well.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% with that. Yep.
Yeah, like I support, and you work at the jail, so and I already know where you're at. You obviously support your friends and fellow police officers. You're not a police officer, but you get what I'm saying. But like I support police officers. I support firemen. I come from a military family, but there are a lot of corrupt people in each of those fields, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I've known my fair share. I've known a couple that were not so good.
Put people in a position of power, and you'll find out who they are.
Oh yeah.
That you will. There's
So-
some crazy
so-
people who. I'm telling you, man. There's some crazy people.
I'm not gonna like name names or like the department I work in, but there's this one. I asked him. I was like, hey, because I was just trying to make small talk because I was just sitting there, and I was like, hey, what made you want to become like a deputy, to become a police officer? He goes, oh yeah, I was bullied in high school. And I was like, that is not something you want to admit. That is not okay at all. And so I just like looked at him. I was like, okay, yep.
Gotta keep an eye out for this guy.
You
And
think that's a
it
bad
was
thing?
like, huh? I think it's a bad thing because
he
they
was
use that
bullied?
against other people. Yeah.
My
'Cause the whole
mindset goes,
bad
if this
thing-
kid was bullied, he wants to help other people so they don't get
Yeah,
treated the way he did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else.
Yeah, like
no, I
I'm
get
sitting here
that,
thinking that might
but-
be a good thing rather than being some pompous ass who was bullying other people and then gets in a police field and then bullies other people as a police officer. Wouldn't it be better that he knows what it feels like? I feel like there's a lot of broken people
we
who
both
do great
I
things.
guess we're thinking about it like both differently. I thought about it as, oh, he was bullied, so now this is his chance to bully others in his higher up field.
That's a crazy take
And-
to take.
Has
Yeah.
there been evidence of this though?
Yeah, like is he a dick
With him?
otherwise, or if he's like a great
Oh,
guy?
dude, he's a
like
fucking asshole. No,
okay,
he's a dick.
then that's different. But like if you're talking to this jolly dude and he tells you, hey, like I got bullied in high school, like then my mindset
Oh, yeah,
would be
no,
like,
like-
this dude like is
like-
trying to help other people not get treated like him.
No, he's a fucking dick.
Okay, well that goes.
I don't
okay.
trust him to save my
Is he a
fucking
dick
life.
to you, Or is he addicted to other people? Because honestly, sometimes putting
people.
up with you brings out the worst in me. Okay.
No, but he's addicted to me. He's addicted to other people. He's addicted to people in the department, outside of the department. It's fucking nuts.
I was gonna say, there's times where me and Jackson have been at each other's
Get it, calm
throats,
down.
and I'm sure that I've wanted to rip out Jackson's hair, and he's wanted to rip out mine. So, like, I could
Me?
imagine that one guy just disliking you. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah, 100%. It's like sibling wars over here nowadays. Well,
Pretty
not
much.
nowadays, but here and there. Like, it's like one day I got your back, brother.
Well,
You
again,
ever need
with
something, I
how
give you the
long
shirt off
we've
my
known
back.
each other, how have there not been times where you and I have gone at each other?
Exactly. There was one day we were gaming, and Jackson was being a piece of shit, and I was like, wish Jackson would fucking disappear, and Jackson got so mad and just left.
Oh, I did, dude. We were both so fucking mad that day, bro. Like, I think that was the only time that like me and you were actually like pissed off at each other.
I mean, we were beefing bad, but like, it's like sibling wars over here. It's like, if Jackson ever needs like help, I got you, man. I'll give you the shirt off my back. But there's some days where Jackson, I just want to beat the fuck out of him. I'm like, fuck you,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, that's valid.
Like,
yeah,
it's just
feelings
sibling
mutual.
wars. Yeah, it's just like sibling wars over here. But it's funny. It's funny. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
no, if you ever fuck, let me know.
I got you. It's like what's it called? White chicks over here. Me and I'm just gonna gang up on everyone.
It's
He's
like
my-
it's
he's
like
my
me and you
stunt
trash
double.
talk each other, and then a 6'4" or 6'3", 6'4", big ass Hispanic guy.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Whenever they get on the
Stunt double.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's gonna be me. When I
Yeah.
go to get on the motorcycle and there's a video being shot, Jackson's gonna be my stunt double. He's gonna swap over
Be
from a
like the
tiny,
dress.
tiny little 5'2" white lady to this big 6'4" massive Mexican dude. Like that's my stunt double right there. We're the same person.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just wild stuff. I think that's gonna be it for today's episode. That was a great conversation. Like, I think that went really well
Wasn't bad.
tonight. You guys
Put
got
my
any
number down in the description,
questions?
guys?
Yeah, Noah's
I'm
looking
getting
for
pretty desperate.
I was gonna
Single way to
say,
mingle.
yeah, if you guys wanna just shoot him your Tinder profile, you guys can email it to us.
No,
but
I don't go on there.
I don't use
okay,
Tinder
one of
anymore.
us is too petty to be going on Tinder, so if you guys have like a Bumble profile or a Hinge, just send it over to Noah
Okay,
here.
really?
But anyways, we'll see you guys later.
If you use Grindr,
Yeah, if you use Grindr, Pornhub, OnlyFans, you can find Noah on OnlyFans. Actually, it'd be
message me on
hashtag
Pornhub.
no, it'd be at
Hashtag
Noah lagging
Hashtag
behind.
No,
Noah's lagging OnlyFans.
No, maybe.
All right.
Maybe
We'll see you guys
Maybe.
later.
later.